Meriden, Connecticut. Meriden is a city in New Haven County, Connecticut, United States, located halfway between the regional cities of New Haven and Hartford. In 2010, the population of the city was 60,868. History. 18th century. Meriden was originally a part of the neighboring town of Wallingford. It was granted a separate meeting house in 1727, became a town in 1806 with over 1,000 residents, and incorporated as a city in 1867 with just under 9,000 residents. It was once proposed as the Connecticut state capital. It was named for the village of Meriden, West Midlands, England, near Birmingham. The oldest house in town still standing, built by Solomon Goff in 1711, became a museum in 1986, the Solomon Goff House. The grave of Winston Churchill's great-great-great-maternal grandfather, Timothy Jerome, can be seen today at what is now called Burying Ground 1720, Google Maps, 41.522877, -72.787707, at the juncture of Dexter Avenue and Liddale Place. At the time the location was known as Buckwheat Hill, and overlooked the salt-making estate for which Jerome had received a royal grant. Timothy Jerome's son, Samuel, is the great-great-grandfather of Jenny Jerome, Winston Churchill's mother. 19th century to World War II. In the second half of the 1800s, Meriden became a manufacturing center of note, with several companies forming, or relocating to the city, involved in the production of mainly silver, lamps and metalware, glassware, guns, and musical instruments. A substantial number of design and technology patents were secured. Silver and cutlery. For silver, the numerous companies included the Meriden Britannia Company, a predecessor of the International Silver Company with corporate HQ in Meriden. Meriden earned the nickname Silver City, due to the large number of silver manufacturers, and the International Silver Company continued production until the early 1980s. Along with the silver companies, other producers of cutlery included the Meriden Cutlery Company and Millard Brothers Cutlery. In 1876, the Meriden Britannia Company made significant efforts at the Centennial Exposition in Philadelphia, and won the first-place medal for plated wares. According to the Sotheby's auction house, the publicity of the award and the impression the firm made on the fair's 8 million visitors was continued by the catalogs and other intensive marketing. By the end of the 1870s, Meriden Britannia Company was considered the largest silverware company in the world. A key design attributed to launching the company and the town's international name was the buffalo hunt, with a smaller edition in the White House collection, Washington, D.C. For some time the original buffalo hunt sculpture went missing, and in a shocking report by Bailey Wright in 2018, it was learned that it was recently missing actually in Meriden. Lamps and metalware. For lamps and metalware, the companies with national and international markets included the Edward Miller and Company, Miller Company, 1844 stopped manufacturing lighting c. 1980, the Charles Parker Company, Handel Company, and the Bradley and Hubbard Manufacturing Company, 1852 to 1940, which also was widely known for producing metal-based products like decorative tables and andirons. Glassware. For glassware, the companies included the C.F. Monroe Company, 1892 to 1916, and the Meriden Flint Glass Company, 1876-92, kitchen appliances and guns. Manning, Bowman and Company, 1849 to 1945, centered its production in Meriden, and into the early 20th century became a nationally known producer of small electrical appliances and chromeware. Meriden was also the site of the production of Parker Brothers guns, widely known and traded by firearms enthusiasts. From 1905-18, the Meriden Firearms Company manufactured small arms from 1905 to 1918. The stock was owned by Sears, Roebuck, and Company. Musical instruments including player pianos. Internationally known companies Wilcox and White and the Aeolian Company were involved in the production of musical instruments north of the downtown area at Tremont and Cambridge Streets. The Aeolian Company grew quickly, forming production sites in other places and developed a music hall in New York. The largest holder today of instruments and music rolls by the two companies is the Pianola Museum in Amsterdam, the Netherlands. Graphic arts innovation. Meriden also was an important site for graphic arts innovation. In 1888, the Meriden Gravure Company, in Meriden 1888 to 1989, was founded by Charles Parker and James F. Allen, and continued a previous printing operation by Parker. The company developed an expertise in high-quality image reproduction, which initially was driven by the needs of the silver industry. With the wealth of entrepreneurs during this time, several mansions and houses of note were built, particularly on Broad Street. Of political and historical note, on March 7, 1860, Abraham Lincoln spoke in Meriden seeking the Republican presidential nomination. For public places, Hubbard Park in the Hanging Hills was financed by Walter Hubbard, of the Bradley and Hubbard Company. The design for the park was originally conceived by Hubbard in consultation with the Olmsted brothers, sons of Frederick Law Olmsted, America's foremost landscape architect. In 1900, Castle Craig-on-a-Peak was dedicated in the park. In 1903, the Curtis Memorial Library, across from Meriden's City Hall, was opened. Hollywood Connection, 1937-50. From 1937 until 1947, the International Silver Company sponsored the Silver Theatre, a national radio program broadcast via CBS in Hollywood. The radio program featured many Hollywood actors and actresses of the time like Jimmy Stewart and Rosalind Russell. Over 200 programs were produced. In circa 1937-45, several Hollywood stars, including Judy Garland, Ginger Rogers, and Barbara Stanwyck, endorsed the company's 1847 Rogers Brothers silverware in print advertisements in Life magazine. After World War II, in 1949-50, the Silver Theatre was brought to television and broadcast on CBS, also with the International Silver Company as the sponsor. Guest stars included David Gabor, Kim Hunter, and Burgess Meredith. Legacy of Meriden's Grand Manufacturing Era. A few thousand designs from this manufacturing era from Meriden are in museums and historical societies across the United States and into Europe, Australia, and New Zealand. Design objects from this era from Meriden have also been included in over 200 national and international exhibitions and expositions since the 1850s. The 1930s T-urn by L.E.L. Saarinen for the Wilcox Silver Plate Company, International Silver Company, Meriden, is the one design exhibited most and most published in design books as an international modern design icon. Some comparatively recent examples of Meriden designs in exhibitions include In Pursuit of Beauty, Americans and the Aesthetic Movement at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York, 1986-87, and more recently, Modernism in American Silver, 20th Century Design, 2005-06 in Dallas, Miami Beach, and Washington, D.C., which highlighted downtown Meriden and the area's role as an important center of modernist silver production. In 19th Century Modern, 2011-12 in Brooklyn, designs by the International Silver Company and the Napier Company, another Meriden manufacturer, were exhibited. In November 2016 November 2017, the city's iconic Napier Penguin cocktail shaker was in an exhibition at the Dallas Museum of Art. The Napier Penguin was the lead image of the show. In summer 2017 alone, historical Meriden area design was exhibited in museum shows in at least Dallas, Newark, at the Museum of Modern Art in New York, the Cooper Hewitt Smithsonian Museum in New York, the Gemma Onte Museum in The Hague, the Netherlands, and the Kunsthalle in Berlin, Germany. With this level of attention, some special design objects from the era have become sought-after collector's items also at auction, sometimes due to their association with the commission or commissioner, or the status of the design, or being in the sought-after modernism style. For example, a painted glass and metal table lamp by Bradley and Hubbard, circa 1920, sold for $14,950, doubling its estimate, at Christie's auction house in New York in 1999. Later, a 14-inch, International Silver Company cocktail shaker, circa 1927, sold for $21,600, tripling its estimate, at Christie's in New York in 2005. A Parker gun made for a Russian Tsar before World War I, but never delivered, was reported to have been sold for $287,500 in 2007. In 2008, a rare handle lamp sold for $85,000. On March the 5th to the 6th, 2014 at Sotheby's in London, Al Capone's cocktail shaker made by the Meriden International Sterling Company, circa 1932, achieved over 33 times its estimate with a sale price of £50,000, $83,250 on the day. Lastly, in 2014, at Sotheby's New York, a rare Paul Lobel designed coffee service, circa 1934-35, produced by the Wilcox Silver Plate Company, International Silver Company, sold for $377,000. World War II, 21st century. In 1939, Edwin Howard Armstrong, a network radio pioneer who invented FM radio, used West Peak in 1939 for the location of one of the first FM radio broadcasts. His original 70-foot tall, 21 meters, radio mast still stands on the peak. Currently West Peak is home to 6 FM broadcast stations, including WNPR, WOIS, WKSS, WDRC-FM, WMRQ-FM and WHCN. During World War II, factories in Meriden worked 3 shifts, 24 hours/day. On March 8, 1944, the War Manpower Commission gave Meriden the designation as National Ideal War Community, and Jimmy Durante and Glenn Miller entertained those at the ceremony. In addition to manufacturers that continued operations after World War II, starting in the later 1940s, the Miller Company, Burton Tremaine, Sr. and Emily Hall Tremaine firmly put Meriden on the international, 20th century art/design map. In December 1947, Meriden became known once again as a site of design innovation, now with modern art, via the Miller Company collection of abstract art and the organization of a Painting Toward Architecture exhibition which opened at Hartford's Wadsworth Atheneum and later traveled to venues in 27 venues across the United States, 1947-52. Substantial national media coverage reported on the exhibition. Painting Toward Architecture is considered one of the important art exhibitions of the 20th century. In the 1950s, the Miller Company collection of abstract art was privatized to Mr. and Mrs. Burton Tremaine, Meriden, Connecticut, and numerous artworks were lent to hundreds of exhibitions nationally and internationally into the 1970s with this designation. In 1965, the Miller Company addition on Center Street was completed. The black and white modernist facade was designed by influential American architect Philip Johnson. On April 27, 1976, Jimmy Carter campaigned at City Hall and the Latin American Society for the nomination of the Democratic Party for President of the United States. In 1987, the Emily Hall Tremaine Foundation was founded by the noted art collector that partly worked in Meriden, before her passing, with 3 focus areas: learning disabilities, the arts, and the environment. The offices were located in downtown Meriden. In circa 2010, the foundation offices were relocated to New Haven, near Yale University. Meriden was a location chosen for the filming of the 1989 film Jackknife, directed by David Jones, starring Robert De Niro, Ed Harris, and Kathy Baker. De Niro played a Vietnam War veteran suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, adjusting to a return to American life. The film was adapted by the play, Strange Snow by Stephen Metcalf, a native from the adjacent town of Cheshire, Connecticut. A number of Meriden locations can be seen in the film, including a historic house on Lindsley Avenue, as well as film locations in the greater region. The Franciscan Sisters of the Eucharist have their mother house in Meriden, as do the Franciscan Brothers of the Eucharist. Geography. According to the United States Census Bureau, the city has a total area of 24.1 square miles, 62.5 square kilometers, of which 23.8 square miles, 61.5 square kilometers, is land and 0.4 square miles, 1.0 square kilometers, or 1.66%, is water. Meriden is a showcase for a number of prominent peaks of the Metacomet Ridge, a mountainous traprock ridgeline that stretches from Long Island Sound to nearly the Vermont border. Notable peaks in Meriden include the Hanging Hills, West Peak, East Peak, South Mountain, and Cathole Mountain, Lamentation Mountain, Chauncey Peak, and Bissek Mountain. Castle Craig, a city landmark for over a century, was constructed among the Hanging Hills in Hubbard Park. The Quinnipiac River courses through the southwest quadrant of the city, known to area residents as South Meriden, where it meanders through a gorge lined with several exposed sandstone and brownstone cliffs. Harbor Brook, originally named Pilgrim Harbor Brook, cuts through the town from the northeast to the southwest before emptying into Hanover Pond, an impoundment on the Quinnipiac River in South Meriden. Principal communities. Demographics. As of the 2010 census, there were 60,868 people in Meriden, with a population density of 2,558 persons per square mile. There were 23,922 households, 2009-13. The average household size was 2.49 and the average family size was 3.10. Husband-wife households account for 41% of all households. The population under 5 years, 2010, was 6.7%, under 18 years, 2010, was 23.9%, and 65 years and over was 12.9%. The female population was 51.6% compared to the male population at 48.4%, 2010. The racial makeup of the city in 2010 was 73.5% white, 9.7% black or African American, 0.5% Native American, 2.1% Asian, 0.1% Pacific Islander, 10.7% from other races, and 3.5% from 2 or more races. Hispanic or Latino of any race were 28.9% of the population. In 2009 to 2013, 9.7% of the population was foreign-born. For 2009-13, the median household income was $52,590. The per capita income for the city was $26,941. The median value of owner-occupied housing units was $188,400. The home ownership rate was 61.8%. The high school graduation or higher rate was 83.6%, age 25 plus, and the bachelor's degree or higher rate was 19.1%, age 25 plus. 14.4% of people were below the poverty line. Political affiliation. Transportation. Highway. The city of Meriden is located on Interstate 91, which provides access to Hartford, Springfield, and New Haven. Interstate 691 provides access to Interstate 84 and connects to points west like Waterbury. The Wilbur Cross Parkway, Connecticut Route 15, travels in a southwestern direction connecting to towns and cities like Wallingford, New Haven, and towards New York City. The parkway becomes the Berlin Turnpike, also Connecticut Route 15, on the northern end of Meriden. US Route 5 passes through the city as North and South Broad Street. Railroad. The city of Meriden is connected to the cities of New Haven, Hartford, and Springfield, Massachusetts, by regional rail service provided by Amtrak, which runs north to south through the center of the city. This rail line opened in 1839, and operated for many years under the New York, New Haven, and Hartford Railroad. The city was also served by the Middletown, Meriden, and Waterbury Railroad, which provided both freight and passenger service to Waterbury and Middletown from 1888 until its abandonment in 1924. Currently, Amtrak runs 16 trains through the Meriden station on most weekdays. Additionally, the Connecticut Department of Transportation plans to add a new commuter service called the Hartford Line in collaboration with Amtrak and the federal government that will run between New Haven and Springfield, Massachusetts. As of late 2015, funding had been secured and the service is scheduled to begin operation in May 2018. In the Quinnipiac River Gorge in South Meriden, 1.3 miles, 2.1 km, of the original MW&S Railroad right-of-way has been converted into a recreational rail trail as the Meriden Linear Trail. Open to the public in December 2006, the formal dedication occurred on November 3, 2007. Bus. Beginning in 1784, Meriden had a stop on the New Haven-Hartford stagecoach on Route 5 near the intersection of East Main Street. Years later, the same stop served as the bus stop for Greyhound and Peter Pan buses. Meriden had 4 daily departures to / from Hartford/Boston, and 4 daily departures to / from New Haven/New York daily from the 1970s through 2007, when intercity bus service ceased serving Meriden. Meriden is linked to the Connecticut Transit System, Connecticut's extensive public transit bus network. 3 bus lines loop throughout the city of Meriden once per hour. The B bus route departs the Meriden Railroad Station for the southern terminus of Coles Plaza, connecting for New Haven. The A bus route departs the rail station for the northern terminus of Meriden Square with connections to New Britain and Hartford, and the East/West C bus travels along East Main and West Main streets, with a handful of departures to Middletown and Waterbury. Airport. Meriden Markham Municipal Airport is the city-owned airport, located 3 miles, 4.8 kilometers, south of the city center on the border of South Meriden and Yalesville, and serves private and charter planes. Education. The Meriden Board of Education operates several public schools. Private schools include. Other schools in the area include the Catholic high schools Xavier High School, Boys, and Mercy High School, Girls, in neighboring Middletown. The private schools Cheshire Academy and Choate Rosemary Hall are in adjacent Cheshire and Wallingford respectively. The former St. Stanislaus Catholic K-8 school, established in 1897 by people who immigrated from Poland, closed in 2015. Points of interest. Notable people. Since 1975, the Meriden Hall of Fame organization has issued recognitions. In the Meriden City Hall, plaques pay tribute to the inductees. Arts and Humanities. Science and Technology. Sports. Media. At one time the Meriden Daily Journal served as the community newspaper. Currently the Meriden Record Journal serves the communities of Meriden, Wallingford, Cheshire, and Southington and is located in downtown Meriden. Southington and is located in downtown Meriden. Southington and is located in downtown Meriden. Southington